Hey everyone, welcome back into Monteriggioni. So in the last episode, we got all of our harvest done and all of our baling done as well. All the bales picked up. And now I've got the new Schluter, or new to us anyway, Schluter Super Track, and we're tilling up some fields here. Not doing a whole lot in this field, just want to get that spot cleaned up a little bit. It was just a little too janky in this field. Right through this section, so it's definitely not straight by any means, but it's a little bit straighter, so happy with that. And we're going to go ahead and expand this field here. Our small field is going to be turned into a grass field. And there's really no reason to have a headland around a grass field since, you know, we're going to mow everything anyway. Or that's part of the reason why I mowed this in the last episode, was to give myself an idea of where I can and can't go as far as where the field boundaries are. Unfortunately, you can't buy any roads in this map, which is very disappointing. And there's honestly a lot of sections you just can't purchase or use. And that does get a bit annoying at times, but in the end, it's not that big a deal. But this is going to expand our grass field quite a bit. And there's really no reason not to have this seeded into grass if we're going to mow it anyway, so we're going to go ahead and get this expanded here, and then I will rent our seeder, and we're going to go ahead and get this seeded yet this month as well, and get this grass growing. That way we can get a cutting off of it before the end of the year. Now, there is rain coming late today, so I'm hoping we get all of this done before that rain hits, but we're going to be cutting it pretty close. Thankfully, this is a nice small field, and this field expansion here won't take very long at all. And the seeder I'm going to rent is direct drill, so we don't need to do any cultivating prior to seeding. Alright, and we are done. Did not take very long. Didn't think it would. So we're going to go ahead and get that seeder rented, and I'm going to go pick it up, and we're going to start seeding right away. Alright, we got the seeder rented. Cost over $8,000, or 8,000 euros, I should say, in order to rent. So that was holy crap expensive. But it does hold seed and fertilizer, so we're going to be able to fertilize as we plant, which is absolutely fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and get to this as fast as we can because there is rain coming, and I do not want to get rained out. I desperately want to get this field planted as soon as possible. Alright, so we'll get this thing fired up, we'll drop it down, and I am going to go ahead and turn my steering assist on. Give us 2 headlands. And see how this goes. Should go quite well, I would hope. This is an 8-meter seeder, so twice the width as our old one, which is absolutely fantastic, and we're moving at a pretty steady clip here. My goodness, we're running 18 kilometers an hour. I did not expect this thing to run this fast at all, so that is absolutely phenomenal. But we'll go ahead, hammer this out, and I'll catch up with you guys when we're finished. Alright, and we're done planting our grass field. Did not take very long, thankfully. And we beat out the rain, so I'm very, very happy. Alright, so as you can see, we're sitting very good for fertilizer and pH value, so I'm really, really happy. Now we're going to get a nice rain right after this got planted. So this grass should pop up and be very, very good. But we're done with that seeder, so I'm going to go ahead and empty it. We're not going to need it for a couple of months yet, so there's no reason to hold on to it. We'll go ahead and return it. That way we're not getting charged multiple months, and we'll just re-rent it when we are ready to plant our wheat and barley again. So we're done for the month of July. Everything went absolutely fantastic, and I'm very, very happy with where we're at. So I will see you guys when we are ready to start planting. Hey everyone, welcome into September. We're starting out down here in our goat barn, as we're all the way up to 31 head of goats in here, which is absolutely fantastic. But one of them did contract mastitis, which is not good at all. So we started treatment. That's $200 a month to treat them, and I'm really hoping 1 month will be enough to get them treated and back to healthy. But we have a crazy amount of baby goats out here. You can see a couple of them running around right now. And there's a whole bunch out there that you just can't quite see because the pasture is a little too tall. But they are doing absolutely phenomenal. Our chickens are growing like crazy, and they are doing absolutely phenomenal as well. And we're due to have some baby calves here next month. So that's really, really exciting to have our first baby calves on the farm and our first cow milk on the farm. But this month, we need to go ahead and get all of our vegetables sold. We do have our first bit of goat cheese and goat butter here on the trailer, which is really, really exciting. So we're going to go ahead and get these sold off for the first time this month. And we have planting to do. We've got all of our wheat and barley that we need to get planted this month as well. So we have a very busy month ahead of us, and we're going to get right into it here. So we'll haul down to the farmer's market and get all of this sold off. I can't wait to see how much we get now that we have butter and cheese on the trailer as well. All right, we'll go ahead and get backed into the farmer's market here and get this sold off. And we made 13,724 euros with a 1,572 euro environmental score bonus. That is absolutely fantastic. That goat cheese and goat butter definitely added some to our sale there. Now, unfortunately, we just aren't producing enough to sell a whole bunch every month, but we'll probably be selling every couple of months. So we need to head back to the home place and get ready to feed our cattle. Our chickens need fed, and our goats are fine on feed. But we'll go ahead and get those other two fed, and then we can get straight into planting our wheat and barley. And we're still going with the mix of 4 buckets of hay and 3 buckets of silage. Gives us a really good TMR mix. Now, something I do want to get done at some point, and it's probably not going to be in this series, but there is now a mod out where we can change the TMR mix. So that's something I'm going to experiment with, and like I said, it probably won't be in this series, but I'm really hoping in the next series we can have a much more realistic ration for feeding all of our animals instead of just hay and silage, which is good. It does work, but there's just a few things I'd like to change if possible. All right, well, we got our feed wagon loaded, so we're going to go ahead and fill this loader bucket up with wheat and take it down to our chickens and get them fed quick while the loader bucket mixes here. Or while the feed wagon mixes is what I should say. And it looks like we spilled a little bit. So we got an extra 100 liters in the bucket. No big deal there. We can just go ahead and dump that right back into the silo. And then we can grab the other tractor and the feed wagon and start feeding our cattle. And we do have some manure we need to get moved, but we don't need to do that right away. That can wait until after we get all of our planting done, because yet again, there's more rain coming. It seems to rain just about every month here, which is very different from our last series in Iowa, where honestly it hardly ever rained. So this is something I'm trying to get used to, but yeah, it definitely makes things a bit more challenging. All right, we'll go ahead and get these cattle topped off, and that'll be it for our chores this month, and we can get straight into planting after this. All right, we got the seeder rented, so we'll go ahead and get it filled full of seed and fertilizer here. And I have no idea how long this will last. It definitely holds a little bit more than our last seeder did. And our last seeder did not hold fertilizer. So we're going to start planting wheat, and we're going to start down here in what was our barley field last year. You can see we definitely have a lot of weeds growing in these fields, which is not great at all. But we'll go ahead, get our GPS set up here. 2 headlands, I like that. We'll get this fired up. We'll get it dropped down. Or it'll be interesting to see how far one fill up with seed and fertilizer will go. I'm sure it's going to take quite a few refills here to get both of these fields done. And I'm really hoping we can get it done before the rain hits. All right, well, we didn't make it too far here. We ended up getting all of the headlands done, the 2 passes around the headlands. One pass down, one pass back, and one of them was a half pass, and we're out of fertilizer. So we're definitely going to be refilling quite a bit here, at least with fertilizer. Seed is definitely not going down very fast. You can see we're sitting pretty good there. And it usually helps if you turn the seeder on. There we go. That's much better. Okay. So yeah, we're definitely going to be refilling quite a bit here. I have no idea how much this harvest is, or this harvest. I have no idea how much this planting season is going to cost, but I got a feeling it's going to be a bit expensive. But being able to put down seed and fertilizer at the same time is a huge advantage. That's one less pass through the field, so I'm very happy with that. All right, and we are filling up with solid fertilizer for the third time. And that was 1,233 euros. So yeah, having to fill up with solid fertilizer is very, very expensive. We're burning through cash very quickly here. But that's okay. We need the fertilizer regardless, so we're going to buy it and just deal with it. Now we'll make sure we actually get the seeder fired up this time before we drop it down. And as you can see, we're definitely a little over halfway, maybe 3/4 of the way here. And we'll be done with this field in a hurry. This seeder is definitely making a huge difference on how fast we can get these fields done, which is absolutely phenomenal. All right, and we're coming up to the end of planting our wheat field. Very exciting. And we just barely have enough solid fertilizer. We went through 60% of our seed. So not too bad on seed. Pretty happy with that, but the fertilizer, boy, 3 fill-ups was very expensive. Now we're going to go ahead and refill both the seed and the fertilizer and jump into our barley field. And as we jump out and take a look here, honestly, I don't think we're even going to worry about putting any lime down. We're sitting at 6,500. We're only down 250 on our pH value. Really, I don't think it's going to be worth spreading lime. You know, we're looking at 123% yield, so I think we're going to forego the lime this year and call this field good, except for the herbicide that we'll have to spray here next month. Top off with our solid fertilizer. Top off with our seed. And that was $1,200. No, Jesus, $1,300. So we'll go ahead and get unfolded here. And we can get straight into planting our barley. So I'm assuming this will take another 3 loads of fertilizer, just like the last field, to get this planted. They're almost the same size. The wheat field is slightly bigger than this one, but not by much. So I'm just going to go ahead and plan on 3 loads of fertilizer. And I don't think we'll need to refill with barley. Barley seed goes quite a long ways, if I do remember right. So I think we should be good on seed. It's just going to be fertilizer that we're going to be filling constantly. All right, well, we're filling up with solid fertilizer for the second time, and we definitely went quite a bit further in this field than we did in our wheat field. So barley definitely takes less fertilizer and more seed. So yeah, we're definitely burning through seed a little bit quicker, and we're still burning through fertilizer like crazy. For some reason, my GPS quit. Not sure about that, but we'll go ahead and get this fired up. Get it dropped back down and continue on with this field. And I'm still guessing it's going to take 3 fill-ups to of fertilizer to get this thing finished. And it honestly might take a second refill for seed. Not really sure. Doesn't matter too much, because even if we overbuy, we're going to empty it out and put it into our greenhouses anyway. So no seed or fertilizer will ever go to waste on this farm. That is for certain. All right, and we are on our last pass here, getting this field planted. And man, are we cutting it close on the fertilizer. We're down to 43 liters, and we're not using any more. Perfect. So our second fill-up was enough to go ahead and get this field done. I'm very happy with that. And we ended up actually using less barley seed. That's crazy. So we're done planting, which is absolutely fantastic. And I still can't judge fields for Well, I still can't judge fields, so we'll keep it that. We'll keep it at that. So we'll go ahead and get this thing emptied out. We'll get all of the extra seed thrown into our greenhouses. That way it doesn't go to waste. And we'll go ahead and get this seeder returned because there's no reason for us to continue paying on it when we're not going to be using it. So that's about it for the month of September. I'm going to go ahead and finally pick up a power washer this month, get all of our equipment cleaned up, do any maintenance that needs to be done on everything. That way we are not worried about any more extra spending for the rest of this year. All right, we got the seeder returned and we got all of the seed put into our greenhouses, and we're going to go ahead and start putting manure into our greenhouses next. Go ahead and get our cow barn all cleaned out, and as well as our goat barn, even though I do believe our goat barn is actually like linked to the greenhouses. It's still just, you know, kind of fun to go ahead and clean it out anyway, get it dumped into the greenhouses. So that's what we're going to do, and that'll pretty much be it for the month of September. There's not a whole lot more going on this month. We've got one more round of hay to go, and in December we're going to be selling off our wheat and barley and hopefully making enough that we can finally get started on our grape operation. That is my goal, that is my hope, and it'd be really nice if that's where we actually ended up. So I will see you guys here in just a minute. Welcome into October, everyone. We have a pretty busy month ahead of us here. We're going to go ahead and get started by selling off all of our vegetables and our eggs. We don't have any products out of the dairy this month to sell, but we do have baby calves on the farm, and that means we have milk. We don't have very much, but we do finally have some cow milk. We also have fields that need to be sprayed and grass that is ready to be mowed and turned into hay. So we've got plenty to get done here this month. And I'm sure, as always, it's probably going to rain at some point because it seems to rain every month here in Monteriggioni. So we're going to go ahead and get to it here as quickly as possible. And we're, like I said, we're starting out selling off all of our vegetables. All right, we'll get back into the farmer's market here, and we'll get all this sold off. And we made 10,374 euros with a 1,294 euro environmental score bonus. So that is very, very good. We're sitting at 94,814 euros, which is not too shabby. And we have a lot of barley and wheat we're going to sell here in December, so we've got plenty of money coming in to hopefully start our grape operation. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get our cattle fed. And while that is unloading, we'll see if we can find... We'll see if we can go ahead and find the baby calves that are out here. Got a feeling it might be a little difficult. There's one. So this is a brand new little baby female. Very, very cute. Happy to have it out here on the farm. Looks like there's another one. There should be 3, I believe. Yep, and there's a little male. He's doing very good, taking his first couple of steps. And I believe there's one right over here. Yep, and here's another female. So that is wonderful. I believe that's it for calves out here. There might be... Oh, there's another one. Okay, so there's 4. So there's another little male doing absolutely wonderful. Everybody's very happy, very healthy. Like I said, we finally have some milk, which is really, really good. All right, we got our old water trailer hooked up, and it will work perfectly for hauling milk from the barn over to the dairy. Unfortunately, it doesn't just automatically transfer, but not a big deal by any means. All right, we'll get this backed in. Get this little bit of milk unloaded here. Not very much, but it's a start. And we'll run in here, go ahead and... All right, and we'll go ahead and get some of this fired up here. We'll do some bottled milk. We can do some butter. We can do some cheese. All right, so butter, cheese, and milk, and bottled milk it is. Like I said, there's not very much milk in here. We're not going to get any products out of it this month, but at least we're getting it fired up, and it is rolling, and hopefully going to make us a lot of money here in the future. So we'll go ahead and get this trailer unhooked, and we're going to go ahead and start out by spraying our weeds, get those hammered out right away, and then we can move on to mowing our grass. All right, we got the sprayer hooked up. We are loaded, and I leased this sprayer again. Honestly, I don't see the point in owning a big sprayer. With the technology on the new ones, we don't go through very much herbicide, and it only costs $4,000 a month. So I just don't really think it'll ever actually pay for itself if I were to buy it. You know, if you compare the outright cost to what the rental price is, it doesn't make sense. But we're going to go ahead and get our steering assist fired up here. And we'll get this thing fired up and get these fields hammered out in a hurry. This will not take very long, and it'll use very, very little herbicide. And just like that, we are done spraying. Did not take very long at all, and only used about 100 liters. So we'll go ahead and get this sprayer unloaded, get it returned now that we're done with it, and we can jump straight into mowing. Not going to do quite as much mowing as I have in the past with headlands, or I guess I'm not going to do any mowing with the headlands, because we have our new grass field that is ready to be harvested. So that's going to be more than enough grass for us to mow and turn into hay. All right, we got our mower hooked up here, and I am going to go ahead and do this little triangle piece here. It provides us a nice little bit of grass, and it doesn't take very long, and it's convenient. So we'll knock this out, and then we'll jump into both of our grass fields after this. All right, we got all of our raking and tedding done, so we're going to go ahead and start baling. Get this thing fired up, get it dropped down. We got the bale counter reset. And this shouldn't take too long at all here. Hoping for maybe 20. If we can get 20 bales, that would be really, really good. I think that's asking a lot, but at this point, shoot for the stars and, hope you don't miss. So I'll go ahead and hammer out all of this baling, and I'll catch up to you guys when we get her done. All right, we're coming up on the last bit. We got one more bale out of it, and that is it. But we did manage to hit our 20 bale goal. I'm very happy with that. We ended up with 23 in total. So that is absolutely fantastic. That's 3 more than I was hoping for. So we'll go ahead and get all of these bales picked up, and while I'm here, yep, we will need to do some nitrogen and lime. Not a big deal. So once we get all these bales picked up, we are going to go ahead and spread some lime and fertilizer, and we need to start doing some maintenance on some of our equipment. The tires are getting really worn down on this tractor and our loader tractor. Our loader tractor is really bad. It's at 100% tire wear and getting to the point where it's getting really, really hard to steer. So we are going to have to spend probably a good bit of money this month, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. We're going to be selling off barley and wheat in December. So not the end of the world, but just slightly disappointing here. So I'll go ahead and get all of these bales picked up, and I'll catch up to you guys here in just a minute. So for no more ground than we have to cover with the lime, I'm not going to rent a lime spreader this time. I'm just going to go ahead and use this little one. It seems to be not going through as much lime this time, thankfully. But we'll see, what it does on the big field anyway. And yeah, we're just going to suffer through using this little one for our 2 little grass fields. It's really not a big deal. And fertilizer will definitely, be just fine with this little one. So we'll hammer this out, and I'll catch up with you guys when we are finished. So I'm really glad I didn't rent another fertilizer spreader, because we ended up getting that whole field done with one load. that was fantastic. Now, I don't think we're going to be able to, you know, get away with only 2, maybe 3 loads on the next field, but at least it went fast and we didn't have to refill a million times in this little field, so a win's a win. Now we're going to go ahead and spread lime in our bigger grass field, and, well, honestly, I have no idea how many we're going to go through. I'm giving up on trying to judge because I clearly have no idea with these fields. All right, we got both of our grass fields all covered with lime, so we're going to go ahead and get this thing emptied out, switch over to fertilizer, and get them both fertilized. Now, this is going to be more expensive than the lime, but we shouldn't go through quite as much fertilizer, and thankfully we can reuse whatever leftover fertilizer we have in our greenhouses. All right, and with this, we are done fertilizing, so that was very, very good. Go ahead and get this fertilizer spreader unloaded right here, and all of that fertilizer will go into our greenhouses. Now, I did have to repurchase the soil map. I didn't realize I'd have to do that without expanding. I knew I'd have to do it if I changed, you know, the field shape, but that's... if I got to do that for every field, that's going to be an issue. That's an expense I was not counting on. So that might be a problem coming up here in the near future, but, you know, we'll deal with it when that time comes. But that is going to be it for the month of October. So I will see you guys when we're ready to sell our wheat and barley. Welcome into a very rainy December morning, everyone. We've got quite a bit on the docket today. We've got all of our vegetables to sell, and we finally have some milk to sell. So we'll take a look at the trailer here. So we've got some goat milk to sell, some cow milk to sell, goat cheese, and 2 pallets of butter. So our dairy is doing quite well. And I forgot to shut the door. So we've got quite the sale here. We have chores that need to get done, grain that needs to get sold, and some goats that need to get sold as well. So we've got a lot of selling to do, a lot of making money to do today, and let's get to it. I'm very, very excited for this month. I'm hoping we make, well, let's say $100,000. If we can make $100,000, then I think we'll have enough money to get started into grapes, and our wine adventure will officially begin. All right, we're down here at the farmer's market, so we'll go ahead and get all of this sold off. And we made 19,495 euros with a 2,539 environmental bonus. That is absolutely phenomenal. Doubled up what we would normally, or what we've normally been making here. And I guess I was so excited about selling stuff, I forgot to mention we have a new trailer, which I'm sure you guys have figured out by now. So, we sold off our chicken trailer because, well, A, it really wasn't doing anything, and B, all it could load was chickens. You could make the cages disappear and take those off, but you couldn't load it like a regular trailer. So it was kind of worthless. And I sold it off for 6,000 euros, and we bought this homemade trailer for 3,000 euros. So I made 3,000 euros on that deal, and I'm not going to complain one bit. Making money's making money. I don't care how we do it right now. So we're going to head back and get our chores done right away. Make sure our cattle are fed, chickens are fed, and our goats are fed. And then we'll jump into selling our grain, and we'll finish the day off with selling our goats. All right, we're going to start out by selling our wheat, and we're taking this down to the grain mill. It's paying significantly higher than anywhere else, so hopefully we get all 80,000 liters hauled down there before they start dropping the price. All right, we're getting pulled in here with load number 1 of our wheat. And we made 9,037 euros with a 1,177 euro environmental score bonus. Well, you can see the truck has changed. So I stopped in to grab a cup of coffee and ran into Stefano. He's a local farmer around here, and we've started to become pretty good friends. And he asked me if I wanted to borrow his truck and trailer. And well, since it's raining and his trailer has a tarp and mine doesn't, I said absolutely, I would love to use it. It holds significantly more than my truck does, and we're going to get this done a lot faster and be able to keep the grain dry. So that's a big, big benefit here. Now, this thing is definitely a little weird to drive. Not used to flat-nosed trucks at all, but it's going to get the job done significantly faster here. And that's what we're after. So this is going to cut us down to 2 trips with our wheat and, 3, maybe 4 trips with our barley. I can't remember how much barley we actually have. I just remember that it is quite a bit. All right, we're down here at the grain mill, so we'll go ahead and get this wheat sold off. All right, and we are down here with the last of our wheat, so we'll go ahead and get this sold off. And the back hopper paid 2,655 euros with a 345 euro bonus. And the front hopper paid 12,274 euros with a 1,599 euro environmental score bonus. So we are done selling wheat. Now we're going to go ahead and switch over to barley and getting it sold, and I still need to check where the best place is to sell it. All right, we have our first load of barley. Looks like we're going to have 3 loads, and the last one will be a little short because I need to make sure that we save enough barley to get these chickens through another year. So we need to make sure we don't sell off their feed, or we're going to be buying chicken feed, and that's just not going to be good. All right, and we're down here at the grain mill, so we'll go ahead and get this barley sold off. All right, and we're down here with load number 2 for our barley. All right, and we're down here with the last of our barley. Not quite a full load, but it is pretty close. All right, and we are done selling off our grain. We're sitting at 249,476 euros. That is absolutely fantastic. So we're just about done selling here. We need to go ahead and head back to the home place after we return this truck and trailer and get our goats loaded up and get them sold off next. All right, we have 6 goats loaded up, ready to be sold here. And one of them is the one that got sick. It's not getting better, and it's costing us $200 or 200 euros every month, and I'm going the wrong direction. So it's costing us 200 euros a month and just not really getting any better. So we're going to go ahead and get it sold off before it dies on us. All right, we're down here at the sale barn, so we'll go ahead and get these 6 goats sold off. And that made us 5,214 euros. Not going to complain about that one bit, especially considering one of them was sick. But that is going to be it for this episode. So if you guys like what you're seeing, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode.